Humbug. It's the
Bah humbug indeed. It's that season.
It's the weather report for December 12th or 12/12/22. How about that shit? That's a
12/12/22. There's a lot of twos in there.
A lot of twos in there. That's the reason we're doing this, because there were so many twos today. We just spontaneously decided. And Ox, and people who are complaining about me not starting on time, what you don't understand is all of the engineering marvels and careful technical work we do behind the scenes. There are so many moving parts on this broadcast that you could never get your mind around it. I mean, and we're setting all that up behind the scenes, and sometimes we're going to be a few minutes late.
It's a well-oiled machine. Lots of oil going on right here.
Hell of a lot of oil, and it isn't just any old oil. It is highly refined, highly engineered and designed oil. It's really good oil is what I'm saying.
So, yeah, we spent a lot of time picking the right oil for this machine.
It's the best oil for this machine. Anyway, so not too much has been going on in the I haven't had any Cel Cordo to bash. He keeps doing things about Napoleon and lovers, and I don't know what the fuck he's on about. And Faraday. He is obsessed with Faraday.
Yeah. I don't know what there is about that. Faraday is a great historical scientist, but man, this is the 21st century.
Yeah, Faraday was a genius. He was a fundamentalist Christian, and he had a stick up his ass that was as big as an oak tree.
Now, when you say he was a fundamentalist Christian, what exactly do you mean by that?
He was, a Bible thumping Protestant, probably. I'm not sure if he probably was a Protestant.
And what dates were this? What in the 1700s?
I don't know, because my mind doesn't go back before 1950.
Okay, well, I will Google that.
Give a rat's ass about science before 1950.
Yeah. And it's James Faraday?
Michael
Faraday.
Yeah, he was a hell of a scientist, but I think his really strict religious and humble background led him to be extremely clean and conservative and careful, and he ended up doing a lot of really good work then because of that. Because of that oak tree sized stick up his ass, and I'm sure he was a real joy to live with.
Yeah, 1791 to 1867. He could have been obviously a Protestant of some sort.
Yeah. I don't know about creationists back then. Creationism, I'm not sure what their version of it was back then.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't as hokey and ad hoc as creation science, quote unquote science today.
It was more agnostic,
Yeah, they were. Seems almost like the science of the Enlightenment became more deistic. Yeah. When they talk about the creator, they mean creator capital C. Now I don't know what kind of Bible thumper Faraday was, but if Sal's just looking for a saint of science to say, now you want to talk about a real scientist, let's talk about Michael Faraday.
Yeah. Real science, not phrenology like all the evolutionary biologists.
Yeah, that's just neither here nor there.
Thousands of them.
This guy lived before Darwin. I mean, what good is he to science today?
Right.
Other than whatever principles he discovered and were put into laws or whatever.
Yep.
And he made his contribution, and yeah.
Well, The difference today, okay, the difference back then is that if they were science denying fundamentalist creationists, they denied science and gave it the attributes of witchcraft and Satanism. Okay, they totally deny it. Now today, they're trying to convert and contort and commandeer science to match their creationist fundamentalist views.
Right, disinformation.
Because, do you know why they're doing that? They're doing that because they know they lost that fucking battle, right?
Yeah, they want to have esoteric creationist science buzzwords so that people will think that, well, that's what science is all about. So I will search Google for that word and just get young Earth creationism disinformation rather than call things by their scientific parlance and getting the full scope of it.
Oh boy, there's 2 trumpet players on the screen.
There are. Wow, we're having a duet.
One too many. So that piano, that Nicky guy I sent you last night, he was when he started that song at that timestamp, that was a trumpet that you were on?
Yeah.
Okay. So wasn't that great?
It was a lovely piece.
Yeah, it was like is that considered jazz? Because I don't know what jazz is.
I think they considered it jazz. I looked the guy up, and they mentioned, he had kind of a jazz feel.
But did you know all the bands that he played with, along with Quicksilver Messenger Service? I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah. I didn't read that section very closely, but yeah.
So I never looked into it before, but like listening to that song back in the 60s and 70s and all our lives, my ex and I, it's one of our favorite songs, Fresh Air by Quicksilver Messenger Service. The piano solo, I always thought, my God, for being in a rock band, this guy could really play. Well, it turns out he's an actual accomplished pianist, right? He's really fucking well, he has his own albums and all that. So I knew that guy was good because holy shit, they do the guitar solo and then they have a matching piano solo, and it's just so goddamn. It just makes you want to get up out of your chair, right?
Yeah, so I never heard of them. I'm glad you pointed them out to me.
Oh my God, so many people have not heard of Quicksilver Messenger Service, and it's because I guess the lead singer kind of got lost right at that time. They were about to go national. They made it up to, I think, number 43 with one single is the highest they ever got, and they just never took off. I think that was Fresh Air that did that. But anyway, they were kind of a cult band. Awesome. So let's see, where are we at here? Where are we at? What are we doing? And why are we doing it?
You're trying to teach me calculus or something?
Oh yeah. We're gonna teach you. We're gonna teach you some goddamn thing. I don't know.
I wonder if James Apperson checked his email. I don't know. I didn't see him saying no, we can't come in. But
he's always just ignoring us. He doesn't like us. He hates us.
Yes. Ignoring us is a very credible option.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, okay. So now, subjectively, it's hard to know what other people see or feel or come up with, and that's just totally. OBS sometimes really irritates me. What the fuck, OBS? What the fuck, OBS? Oh, hang on a second here.
Seems like nobody's really satisfied with their streaming software.
I swear, OBS, I just set the size and I have not touched the window. And somehow OBS changed the size of my PowerPoint presentation. And it almost seems like it just changes it out of the fucking blue. And I don't get it. It's like, why are you changing shit? Okay, and now it's clipping. And that ain't right. Oh my God.
That ain't right. That ain't right at all.
I just went through all this shit before the stream so that I wouldn't have to do it on the stream, and look what's happening.
And here we are again.
Here we are again. Okay. Let me just try to put that Let's try to do this full screen.
James Apperson, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey guys, how are you doing today? I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're doing just fine.
Well, fucking OBS.
Yeah, well, yeah. To be honest, Speed is a little grumpy.
A little grumpy today.
Just a
Poor
bit.
Speed. I mean, I can relate. I've been trying to conquer the OBS learning curve for a while now.
Well, okay, I just set this up before the stream, and it was absolutely perfect on the screen, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I went and set a few other things up on OBS, and now all of a sudden, it's doing this weird shit, where it's clipping and oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let's see.
Get what you pay for.
You do. Oh, let's see. Okay, that's good. We're gonna freeze that. Okay, no, that's not good. You can't see what the. And then StreamYard doesn't give you the entire screen, right? That you're looking at on OBS, because they do their own fucking clipping, like the assholes. Like, come on, guys.
I need to make clipping optional.
So I think going straight with StreamYard is what my goal is. It's what I want to do. And people, but then you got the problem. You got to figure out how to bring people in, right? So you got to bring them in through Zoom or something else. Anyway,
well, I don't have that problem with StreamYard.
What's that?
Bringing people in.
How do you bring people in?
Just do.
Oh, not StreamYard. I mean, OBS.
Oh yeah, OBS is tricky. Like, I think it helps to get like OBS Ninja. What do they call it? Oh, just look up OBS Ninja. Like it makes everything easier for OBS.
Really?
Yeah.
OBS Ninja. Look that up. Because I'm really tired of StreamYard's echoing and they're not. And now all of a sudden my audio started working on Chrome and I have exactly the same setup. And it didn't work for like a week or 2 weeks, and now it's back. Now it's working. Ooh. Anyway, guys, so let me see here. When you, that's incredible. Shift T. Why doesn't that work?
What sounds?
Okay.
The sounds of production.
Okay, when you see diagrams like this, YouTube. Can I refer to you as YouTube bums?
Yes.
Okay.
Johnny says somebody's echoing.
Yeah, I think we both are, and I think Speed maybe needs to go out and come back in again.
Now I hear it too. So you mute, Scott.
Okay, I'll mute.
Okay, can you hear an echo now? Yep, I can hear an echo now.
I'll mute myself right now.
Can we hear an echo now? Oh, now there's no echo. Okay, Scott, unmute. Unmute, Scott.
I am on mute.
Okay, it's you, James. You're echoing.
I was still muted the whole time, so it's.
Yeah, you're echoing a little bit, and I don't know why.
You ever feel blamed for things, James?
Weird. Fair enough.
I hate to blame our guests for things, but in this case, we have to. Dude, we have to own up. Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, there's something on your end that's a little bit echoey, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. But anyway, so when you see diagrams like this, there's three different ways to look at chemistry here, right? It's three different diagrams. What does this look like to you guys? I mean, does it look like gobbledygook?
Well, one of them looks, the top one looks like a diagram of chemical bonds. The lower one looks like a 3D representation of something similar.
Yep.
I'm going to leave for a minute and see if that helps.
Okay, come back. But anyway, there are several different ways to depict an organic molecule, right, or even an inorganic molecule, any molecule. And there are, damn it, there are some rules basically, and those rules, once you learn them, and they're extremely simple to learn. So the idea is to try to give you an idea, or the idea here is to try and give you some grasp of what this means when you look at a molecule like that. Because when your doctor prescribes a drug and you go to the wiki and you see a picture of the molecule, you should have some sense of what you're looking at, as far as, how many carbons there are and what its structure is and whether it resembles anything that you want to put in your body. So that's kind of the idea, right?
Now, with these 3D representations, with the different colors, is it understood that certain colors are certain elements?
No, there's that's sort of there are some conventions that people have adopted, but they're not conventions, they're habits that people have adopted, right? So in this one, the oxygen is red. Sometimes the oxygen is blue. I don't know. No, I guess red oxygen, blue nitrogen, and white hydrogen and black carbon would be as close to a convention as I think I've seen. But
yeah, I guess they just have to provide a legend.
Yeah, I've had molecule kits where they fuck that all up, where it's different, and the oxygen is blue or whatever. So, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a convention. So, but you wouldn't. What you really need might be sharing audio from his computer, which is okay. Are you guys still getting an echo out there?
Well, when I've been talking, there's been an echo.
Really? Okay, let me get up again.
It's down to just me. I wish I had some jokes for you guys, but I'm unprepared in that department. All right. I hear no echo now.
I had it with them. Yeah.
No echo do I hear.
Yeah, every time we play a YouTube video, it picks up an echo, and it has something to do with how StreamYard is working with Chrome. And it's between those two assholes, and that's why our sound disappeared. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is this. And this be our periodic chart of elements, right? Now, the interesting thing is when you're talking about life, what you're really interested here is that top left one, way in the top left, you see that H? That's a hydrogen, right?
That is correct.
And you go over to helium on the right, that gray column, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. And what is that one? I don't even know what that one is. Ogdenon? I don't know what that one is. Oh, I've never seen that one. I swear I've never seen it before. Anyway, those are noble gases. That means they don't give a fuck about anybody. They won't.
That means you have to take your hat off whenever they walk by.
Yeah, people just ignore them. Other atoms just, fuck you. We're not going to combine with you. And they're like, that's fine. We don't want to combine with you either. They're like, maybe they're like incels. I don't know, but they never mate with other atoms because they've got what's called a full shell of electrons. They are perfectly happy all by themselves. They're just autonomous, right? So we don't care about helium, right? But then you go to the next row, and we got a couple of lithium and beryllium, which are not really all that important in biology, oddly enough. And
I think most people care about helium because it's the fun noble gas. It's like the court jester of all the noble gases.
Yeah, that's true. You can inhale that stuff and sound cool. But anyway, the really important stuff starts right under that 14, where we have carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and we don't care about fluorine either at this point. Well, we do a little bit, but then on the next row, okay, we have sodium and magnesium, which are important in life. And then we skip a few, and we have phosphorus, which is the P, and sulfur, and chlorine, which turns out to be Not really all that big a deal in life, but it's a big deal in medicine. So basically, we have carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And with those things, you can make all the amino acids, all the nucleic acids, the DNA, and you can make a great deal of, you can build a great deal of biology. But, why is it that way? Well, if you go down, now if you look at carbon, carbon is the key. It's the pivot point of all life. The reason, okay, carbon combines with itself and other things in remarkable combinations that end up with exploding complexity, and none of the other elements do that. Silicon right below carbon will do it to a point, but the problem is when you get to silicon, you've got another layer of electrons around that nucleus, and that tends to fuck up that stability of those bonds. So, there's the science fiction, basically imaginative forays where they think that, life is built out of silicon dioxide and silicon and, builds up like carbon life. Probably not going to happen because
I found the name for the OG element.
What is that?
It's called oganesson. And this particular website that Google took me to, says it's the temporary name of a retracted chemical element in the periodic table that has the temporary signal OG.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why it's temporary, and I don't know why it's retracted. So hopefully there's a chemist out there listening that can tell us all about it.
Yeah, I got a little chart here on my floor. I haven't hung it up yet. Oganesson.
Oganesson or something like that.
Nesson. With two S's, like
Oganesson.
It's got a sh. Anyway, so the key thing here is that carbon is very special. Now, how did it end up being special? Well,
yeah, it just looks like 14. What number is that? 7 times 2. So it's a little bit holy there, for everybody, but
it's actually a 6. I don't know what the fuck. What are those numbers? 13, 14. Oh, that's the.
It's 6. You're right. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just a plain old looking element.
Well, if you were to start numbering from the left side according to the periodic chart, that would be the 14th column. So
okay, yeah.
Don't worry about that. Okay, worry about the 6. So it's got six protons and 6 electrons, and that ends up being. That should not mean anything, but because of where it is, like right smack in the middle of that first row, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth element counting from the left. Then we have 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, so it's right smack in the middle. So it ends up having properties from both sides, from metals and from non-metals, kind of, right? So it's got, it's right in that sweet spot. And also it only has 2 shells of electrons. So it is extremely tightly binding to itself and to other atoms. So it's how can I explain it? It'll share with the left and it'll share with the right. It likes to share. And it's absolutely perfect. And so
it's a communist socialist.
Yeah, that's what C stands for.
Communism. So all life is held together by socialism.
By communism, yeah, actually. So how did it end up that way? Was it designed like that? Well, every one of these elements are based on 4 quantum numbers that and it's all based on quantum mechanics. And mathematically, okay, those 4 quantum numbers define the characteristics and properties of all of these different elements, right? And it just happened to be that way. When you start from the top with that real simple hydrogen, and you go all the way to the bottom, you get too many electrons and too much shit going on. That carbon ends up being just mathematically the perfect combination for complexity. So that C could stand for complexity. Now, that's a really important thing. Now, was it designed? Well, if it was designed, why the fuck was all this other shit? Why does all this other shit fall out of the same equations? The same equations in physics create that lawrencium way on the lower right as they do carbon. So, I mean, it's not designed. It's a couple of very simple rules that ended up creating this remarkable atom, carbon, which ended up creating all of this complexity. And if you're at the right temperature, the complexity just takes off. So that's the important thing to take away. Carbon is really special. That's why none of these other elements have their own chemistry. Carbon has its own special chemistry called organic chemistry, which is like about 100 times more complex than the inorganic, as far as how many textbooks and how much information we have on it. So what happened to James? The hell?
He said he had to take a phone call.
Oh, okay.
Also, he left to see about the echo thing.
Right.
So I don't know if he decided not to return or if he's just waiting for that phone call to be over with.
So then here's the other thing. Now, the first thing that we have in biology is like amino acids. And these are the amino acids, right? So this is all of them. And being able to read that chart on the right and understand that diagram on the left, the basic amino acid, is kind of important to understand some of the complexities of evolution. That's kind of where it all begins. So that's kind of the goal, okay? And Dirty Road and Goldilocks went into the atomic table and tried the hydrogen. Too small. Then she tried the helium atom. Oh, this is too much. No, it's like the helium atom was like, meh, I don't want to talk to you. Finally, she tried the carbon atom. Yeah, there you go. Well,
yeah, I like Nerdy's version of chemistry better.
I don't know if you've ever seen lithium, but maybe she tried the lithium atom and burnt the hell out of her mouth and decided to skip ahead to the carbon atom. I don't know.
Well, the lithium atom helps stabilize her.
Yeah, that is the Goldilocks element. So, very, very important. So we went through this before. There's going to be a test, Scott. So what's a Goldilocks element?
It is carbon.
Why is carbon the way it is?
Because of math.
Oh, there you go. That's a good answer. Yeah. Because some very simple quantum numbers that add up. Oh, and by the way, it's all quantum mechanics when it comes to chemistry. It's all quantum effects. So when we talk about the quantum brain, all we're saying is the brain's made of chemicals. Who gives a rat's ass, right? Okay, so carbon. Uh-oh. You know what?
What?
See that little battery on there?
I do see a battery. Oh, your pad is. Oh, never mind.
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. What is going on?
Okay, apparently Nerdy and Sal Cordova agree with each other.
Really? What do they agree on?
Physics is greater than chemistry.
Oh, well, actually, chemistry is physics, so sorry.
Ooh, I wonder if you would spark a debate at some physics/chemistry colloquium or something.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, let's see. What do we want? I don't know. I kind of like pink carbon. Okay. So anyway, we got this carbon atom, right? Oh, no, that ain't gonna work, is it, Scott?
Yeah, if you light it on fire, you can really cook your meats, your chickens, your pork chops.
Okay, so we got this carbon atom, and because it's number 4, it has like a simple. It has 4 bonds.
Oh, okay.
It's the 4th one over from the left. Because we skip there's a bunch of missing elements because of the way shells work, but don't worry about any of that shit. Ends up being the 4th one over, and it's got 3 bonds, and then nitrogen is like, you start counting down, it has 3 bonds, and oxygen is the next one, and it has 2 bonds, right? Okay, and then
Correct.
And then chlorine has 1 bond, and then fucking what do you call it? Neon, 0 bonds. 0 bonds. It doesn't have any. So
He's filled up.
So we're counting down. But anyway, so the important part is that carbon will bond with 4 other things. And yeah, I'm just really weak at this shit. I take a few days off and shit. So those 4 bonds, okay, so carbon can bond with 4 hydrogens for one thing, right?
Right.
And we have 4 hydrogens, okay? And that's methane. Hang on a second. I got to yell at somebody.
I'm hanging. Well, side chat, how are we doing? I see Maya Atkinson has joined us, and Nerdy Rodent is being himself. Benghazi is here. I've changed my my avatar name from the Duck of Death to the Duck of D flat. Oh yes, Monkey for Banana. I did not mean to overlook you. I knew you were here, saying some pretty smart things.
Okay.
Johnny Peterson has joined us, and yes, you have heard a dog. This is a dog that, as soon as I get on a live stream, wants me to take her outside, which and then she just whines and whines and whines. She's a child basically. She's like a 2-year-old in her little doggy brain, and she just wants me to take her out, and that's all in the world that she wants. So she whines and begs me and doesn't understand that I'm live streaming.
Okay, so with these 4 hydrogens, okay, another way to represent that is to say CH4. So that means there's 4 carbons or 1 carbon and 4 hydrogens, right? So that's just another way to represent that. And that's what that first diagram that I showed, the one with the complicated gobbledygook up on top, that stuff on the upper right, basically C6H5 3, all the parentheses and all that stuff. That's what they're getting at. Okay, it's just
exactly. Yeah, it's a more helpful pictorial representation of its relationship with the other elements.
Right. Okay, so then we have the possibility of carbon also hooking up to another carbon, so it can do that. Well, if it does that, okay, we've got 3 dangling ends here, and we're going to put an H on those, okay, and an H on those, okay.
Yes, I'm starting to remember my chemistry 1 class, or freshman chemistry for
non-people.
Chemistry people, yeah.
Oh, okay, for non-people. So now we got a CH3. Okay, we could depict it that way, that sort of thing. But anyway, this one is ethane. And where have we heard of ethane? What is ethane used for? What do we use ethane for?
Fuel?
I don't know. Ethane ain't too popular. But if we basically knock this off, knock this one off, okay, and now hook another carbon there, and now we have this like that. So now we have CH3.
Hold on, somebody just ring the doorbell.
Okay, go ahead. I'll wait for you to get back. So now we have CH3, CH2, and they basically, each carbon atom has its own little representation over here, and that's what those crazy diagrams mean. And if we wanted to add more of these, we'd put a parentheses around that and put another number there, and that means that we're extending this one out. So we may have 10 CH2s in the middle of those 2 CH3s. Oops, I did not write CH3, I wrote CH2. Sorry. Okay. I don't know what hell Scott is. His dealer probably showed up.
I have returned.
Was that your dealer?
It was my Baconator dealer.
Oh, anyway. Okay, so here we have propane, which we all know about. Okay. And propane is depicted like this with CH3, CH2, CH3. Okay. And we can go on and find another wonderful thing called butane. Okay. And butane gets its name from butter, actually. But we'll get to that at a later time. So now we have CH3, CH2, and now I'm going to do the trick where you put a parentheses around it and you put a 2 there. And that means there are 2 CH2s here, right? So when you see those things, rather than having your brain just block, read them, because they actually, they mean something pretty fucking simple. And now we have a CH3 on the end. So anyway, that's butane, not propane. So that's butane. And then you add another carbon, and you have pentane, and then hexane, and then heptane, and then octane. So octane has 8, and it's a straight chain, and that's where we get the octane rating for gasoline. And I've been over this before. Do you remember any of this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but here's the cool thing that I want to show you, where things fucking explode, right? So we could take this one right here.
If you light a match around a lot of those things you just named, you'll get an explosion.
Yeah. Well, these things, they burn fairly well. But here's the thing. You could have this carbon, instead of a hydrogen there, we have another carbon there. And another carbon here, okay? And then that can branch out, and that can have another 2 carbons on it, right? And now I'm going to show you another convention that you've seen all over the place, because I'm tired of the hydrogens, right? Oh, shit. I need to be more careful here. That they don't, because hydrogens, basically when you see a carbon with nothing around it, it's implied, if you see just that, it's implied that there are 4 hydrogens on it. Okay. If you see 2 carbons like this, that means it's implied that there are 4 hydrogens out here. You always have 4 bonds on the carbon. Okay. Got it?
Yes, carbon doesn't like to be alone.
Yeah, but anyway, so you can depict these organic molecules with just the carbons, and we're going to leave out the hydrogens because it ends up looking too messy. Because if we put the hydrogens in, we're going to have to fucking stick them all over here, and we're going to stick 1 there, and we're going to stick 2 there, and 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's why you see just those really naked diagrams with. Let's see here. PPT. Oh, there we go. Okay, you see those little pentagons, whatever. Okay, those corners. Well,
yes, I see them.
Yeah, that's the other convention, is that they will end up just drawing sometimes basically the shape. And there's actually a carbon implied here. So they start leaving the carbons out too, and they definitely leave the hydrogens out. Okay. So
understood.
Not the best example. I fucked up. But that's okay. But anyway, you can see what's happening here. Okay. These things can go on and on. And then the other thing that carbon can do is it can form circles. So it goes around and hooks up to another carbon. So we have hexane, which we draw like this, or cyclohexane, which has a C here, 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 a C here. But the convention is for those cycles is that they leave out the carbon because it's kind of implied, right? Okay. So this has 6 carbons. Huh?
I said understood.
Okay. C21H3. What is that? Once I learned C21H3. Oh, H30O2. Okay. Yeah. So that would be, well, it depends on how, you see, And the other thing is, if we took one of these carbons right here, right? Okay, we're going to subtract that carbon right there, and we're going to put it up here. Whoops, I don't know what I did just now. I just did something. Okay, instead of there, we'll put it up here. Well, it has the same chemical formula. Basically the same number of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms, but it's a different molecule entirely. It's an isomer, so it's slightly different. But what I want you to take away from this is that you have enormous complexity right here, just with the way carbon works, and that is based on very, very simple, well, not simple, but quantum principles based in like 4 quantum numbers that they've called out. And you can build the characteristics of that entire periodic table.
Very cool.
Yep. And then you have carbon, and you could hook it up to an oxygen, okay, which wants 2 things. So it's going to have a hydrogen, okay, and it's going to want another hydrogen and another hydrogen and another hydrogen. And that is wood alcohol or methanol. So it would have been methane if we got rid of, if we got rid of this guy here, get rid of that, it would have been methane, CH4. But instead we have CH3, OH. Now, the OH is called an alcohol group. Okay? And that's wood alcohol or methane or methanol. Sorry. You got that?
So didn't people get into medical trouble if they drank moonshine that had been made with a little bit of wood grain alcohol?
Damages your brain.
Yeah.
And I think causes blindness. But now if we do this, okay, remember we had ethane? Okay, and then we squish a little oxygen in there, and we will create our lovely world-dominating, fucking culture-dominating drug, ethanol, or ethyl alcohol, or the alcohol that you get drunk on. And there's propanol and butanol and fucking, on and on and on as you add carbons. So that's just with adding oxygen. All of a sudden we have the characteristics of alcohols. And that becomes water soluble because of that oxygen. I don't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. I wanted that. That water that makes it water soluble, and the carbon makes it water insoluble. So anyway, so now we just have 3 elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And you can create vinegar, and you can create which is acetic acid, or ethanoic acid is another word for it because it's derived from methane. You can go on and on and on. Like if we get rid of this right here and get rid of that right there, and now we have a carbon, and we hook it up to an oxygen with 2 bonds instead of 1. Okay, basically we have vinegar, so that's acetic acid. So that's how all these things are built. So we got carbon, and we have hydrogen, and now we've added oxygen to our repertoire, and we have basically carboxylic acid, or not carboxylic, acetic acid. Okay, make sense? G-Men deliberately poisoned. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Oh my God. So they deliberately poisoned alcohol so that people wouldn't hurt themselves by drinking alcohol. Makes fucking sense. Fuck it, no. Yeah, that's another good one. Fuck it, no. Fuck it, no is a good one. So, anyway. Okay. And we're almost done. Okay. Because we also have nitrogen. So we're going to get rid of that. And over here, we're going to put a nitrogen. And nitrogen likes 3 things. So it's got 1 with the carbon. Okay. And it's got 2 more with 2 more hydrogens right here. And, okay. That is the first amino acid, glycine. It's the very simplest amino acid. and it's one of the, like when you see a G in the diagram of proteins, for a protein. Oh shit! I'm not showing my screen. God damn it! You are not paying attention, are you, Scott? If you were paying attention, you would have said something.
Well, I just thought you were showing something on that chart instead of amino acid bases.
Oh, now you got to do it all over again. Okay. So all I did here is I took the hydrogen off here. I added a nitrogen, which requires 3 things. So it's going to tack on 2 hydrogens, right? And so now this is the structure right here of glycine, which is the first amino acid you want to care about. So now you know what an amino acid is. Okay, amino is over here. This is amino, because if you have a NH2 group on a carbon, it's called an amine, and so we call it an amino. And this is the acid part. So this is carboxylic acid, or basically COOH.
That looks pretty simple.
Yeah, and that's glycine. That's the very first protein. And if you go over here and look at again, okay, there it is right there. Okay, they depict it a little bit differently on this chart. Let me see if we got another chart. Let's see that chart.
Basically, all of those elements together forming that molecule make up the letter G.
Yep. Yeah, so you see up here in the upper left-hand corner of this with glycine. Okay, so there's 3 ways to write glycine. You could spell it out. You can type GLY, or you can just use the G. And that is the very simplest amino acid. So it's in the upper left-hand corner. Okay. And then we have all the rest of them. Okay. And all the rest of them just amount to one thing. And that is, you see that R side chain down there in the upper left?
Yes.
Or the left? Okay, the R side chain, that's called a radical, basically, and for reasons which don't matter. Okay, but that R, yeah, that R can be any number of things depending on which amino acid you have. Okay, so if you go look over here, you'll notice that the R's are all in colored boxes. So these are the different R's that make all the different amino acids. So we have alanine, which has a CH3, which is like a methyl group, methane. And then valine, which is isopropyl or isopropane. It has 3 carbons. And cysteine adds a sulfur, which is really interesting. Proline's a little weird because it forms one of those circles I was telling you about. That's the next one over. And then the next row, we have leucine, which is kind of like alanine and valine, because it's just carbon chains, right? And then
okay, real quick. I'm hearing a staticky sound. I'm wondering if anybody else hears it too, or if it's just my speakers.
I'm not hearing it. People know. So anyway, so that is the whole story of how you understand what an amino acid is, and that's as far as I want to go. So, and it'll be a test at 6 o'clock tonight, and there'll be another one tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Scott.
Do we have to fill in those bubbles?
Yeah. Well, I have to hook you up to a machine. A little feedback. I'm not going to tell you too much about the feedback, but it involves electrodes. Don't worry. I'll keep the voltage low. Oh, I'm breaking up.
I appreciate it. There's static coming through, but right now it's reduced to echoing again.
Holy shit. What is going on with this? Okay, I've got a straight fucking 1 gig internet connection. The only problem is I'm using StreamYard. I'm going to go out and come back in.
I try to stay nice and quiet and muted, but then you keep asking me questions.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to know if you're following along. But how am I now? No, Scott, is that Jesus Christ?
It sounds much better right now.
I've had it with StreamYard.
I don't hear any static with me either.
Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going back to the free StreamYards, meaning I'm going to have the StreamYard thing in the upper right, and I'm going to have, but I ain't paying for this shit. I am not paying $50 a month for this crap. My internet connection is fine. 10 people can play games in this house and 3 others streaming Netflix and whatever, and god damn it. It is StreamYard, combination of StreamYard and their inept fucking servers. Anyway. Yeah, I could probably use that top dog. Anyway, so where's James? Is he coming back? Yeah, we can open up the room, but I'm done for the day. Yeah.
No, that was a very good review.
Okay.
I learned the stuff in college, but I've never had to use it since. Yeah,
the interesting thing is, it's $50 a month, Ox, for if you want 10 users, and I don't know, you get other cool shit, like I don't know what else they leave out of the free version, but I hope they include this part.
I think it's bunghole. Yeah, that's it. Bunghole.
I don't want to lose out on that.
That's my professional future there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, mine too. Yep. Anyway, so how about those religious people? What do we think of them? Blame Scott. Yeah, Palm blame Scott. I blame StreamYard. Yeah, you pay $49 a month, $49.99 a month for full 10 people, full power StreamYard, which allows you 100 hours of recording. And they even fuck that up. You know what else they fucked up? On YouTube, the YouTube app on Apple TV. So they keep changing it. And every time they change it, they make it worse. Now when you go to search, when you type in a search, you're stuck with that. And you can't modify that search. And then when you leave YouTube now the other day, they ask you, do you want to exit YouTube? And if you just click the command button, basically, it goes back to YouTube. You have to click down, and you have to move down and click the exit button, and then it goes to a black screen, and then you have to hit the fucking menu button about 4 times in order to get back to the Apple menu. So what I think the deal is that Google doesn't want anybody to look at YouTube on the Apple TV. They don't want anybody to use that app because they made that app so shitty and so horrible that nobody can use it. And every time they update it, they make it worse and worse and worse. And they keep all the old fucking crap that they had before. And it's like, and then you go to your playlists and they're just all fucking jumbled. There's all kinds of shit you can't do. And I don't know, are they hiring fucking creationists to do their software?
Maybe it may be.
Maybe that's it. I'm not sure.
Since your username is Answers to Atheism, they try to send in all the bad pixels.
Yep. So we'll see if anybody wants to come in. If nobody wants to come in, we'll end it here. Is Nestle out there? Has he been out? Because he sent me an email this morning, and I want to know if I got the right paper.
He's right here.
Is he? Hey, Nestle.
Yeah.
So that was the paper? I nailed it. Okay, good. That really didn't take as long as I thought. So that was pretty good. I topped out. So, so what I started doing, Nessie, is I started a PowerPoint presentation, putting all my descriptions in PowerPoint, basically, and so that I can do a search on them. But I found that by searching for Otangelo, and I just got lucky, basically. That's how I found it. But it'd be nice if we had a nice indexing system so I could find all of our descriptions and stuff. So, what are you up to, Todd?
Just noticed there description all stream long, and you never talked about it.
What is my description?
It's all quantum mechanics.
Oh yeah, I did talk about it. Those 4 quantum numbers go into all those elements. And basically that's how carbon ends up being in that sweet spot, that Goldilocks location.
Oh, that's what you meant, yeah.
It's just that's how they add up. And, people talk about the quantum brain. I mean, there's no fucking quantum brain.
It might be like what they're trying to say is like all different ways it can go. And then, like quantum mechanics or quantum computers.
No, what they're trying to say is that, okay, consciousness is this weird, wispy, spiritual thing. And they're trying to say quantum mechanics is like this weird, complicated spiritual thing. Like we don't really understand intuitively. So one must have something to do with the other. One wispy thing must create another wispy thing. That's why a lot of atheists still are harboring religious metaphysics. They don't, they are not strict naturalists and strict scientists. So
what about like what we looked at, the neurons and stuff? We see like all these different patterns and stuff, and then it chooses a certain way that it goes. So then it's like,
yeah, because the simple
ones and
physics
zeros that are not determined.
It's because of simple physics and chemistry. Basically, you got a neuron, okay, and that neuron has an axon, and that axon can attach to one dendrite of another neuron, which is the input, right? And that would be a very, very simple axon. There are some axons that attach to more than one dendrite, but we'll just simplify it. So hang on a second. Where the fuck is it? It's really fucking pretty simple.
It's not saying that it's actual quantum, but like quantum-like, like the ways that the paths and stuff, all it goes all over the place, and then it still has like a certain path.
But what does that have to do?
Like weird. Oh,
what does that have to do?
The idea of why you probably maybe getting confused with why people think the brain is quantum. Maybe I don't know. It's just an idea that I was thinking, and why we keep on having this like discussion, talking about it like we don't know what each other is saying.
That's weird. That is some weird stuff. I don't know why I have a little N there. Okay. So you've got like a neuron, right? Which is, a cell. And it's got like a big protrusion from it called an axon.
I don't think we're going to look at it, the quantum effect that like what I'm talking about at a single neuron or anything.
Yeah.
Like the whole entire process.
Let's look at the facts first, okay? Okay. And over here is a dendrite. So on this thing, we have all kinds of branching dendrites, basically. They branch out, and there's all kinds of dendrites. And every one of those is basically a little dendrite. And you have one axon. So this one goes on to another neuron, right, which has lots of dendrites, okay? And it has a body. And what happens is if enough of these dendrites have a firing neuron on them, then you will have an impulse going down that axon. It'll go to the next neuron. So you've got a neuron hooked to another neuron by a dendrite, and then you have
that has to be strong enough too.
Yeah. And the thing is, if it just fires one dendrite, it's possible that it won't reach a threshold and it won't fire this axon. Okay. So you have to sum a bunch of them, but it's a summation. Okay. There's no fucking quantum effect anywhere. It's just simply a network, and it doesn't do us any favors to talk about quantum, because all we've got
the concept that I'm trying to
okay,
understand is like how to like quantum mechanics, or not mechanics, but quantum computers.
Okay, what is the concept? How does it relate to a neural network? Okay, we're talking about a neural network here. So how does the quantum relate to that?
As it goes all different paths, and then it chooses a certain
it doesn't. Nothing chooses.
What?
It doesn't choose. It's just all chemistry. There's chemistry and physics here, so nothing chooses. It's just
if you have. That's what I meant.
Okay, but why call it quantum? It has nothing to do with quantum.
It's just analogy more.
Okay, but there's no probability involved here. This isn't probability. It's going to, if your neurons are wired up a certain way, it is always going to choose that path. It's never going to not choose that path. It's always going to choose that path. If you have enough of those dendrites firing, that neuron is going to fire. Enough of those dendrites receiving a signal, that neuron is going to fire. Okay.
We're seeing the end result, but we don't see all the dead ends too.
What dead ends?
Of the neurons not firing all the way to the end of like.
Well, that just means that, you know, like
there is an end.
If you're thinking about peanut butter, it's not a good idea to be thinking about elephant dung because your neural nets are wired to think about peanut butter and jelly rather than peanut butter and elephant dung. There's no quantum effect. There's no probabilities. It's just wired that way. In fact, and the problem is scale. Okay, that the scale of our cognition is in this neural network. It's nowhere else. And what they want to do is they want to make all these quantum weird effects in here, and they want to say it has some. But the thing is, this either fires or it doesn't. It's either a one or a zero. And then when you add all these up, basically, they add up, and this is going to be either a one or a zero. So there's no room for any. Using the word quantum on the brain is just misinformation, and it's religious nonsense.
Why can't it be analogous to a quantum computer?
But it's not. It's not a quantum computer. It's a neural network.
Process.
It's not even a computer. It doesn't even work like a computer. It works more like a weird mechanical switch. So I mean, there's no analogy. It's just. It sounds fun, right? I mean, it sounds like, oh my God, my mind is so special. It's got to be quantum calculation. I mean, intuitively, you know, it feels right to say it's quantum, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you a goddamn thing.
It's what I was saying. It's not actually quantum. It's like the effect. What I was trying to say.
What's a quantum effect?
Like multiple paths, and then it chooses the certain one that I don't know how to explain it. My mind is not very clear on what information I have in my mind.
Because it's based on an intuition, and intuitions are often difficult to explain. You know, and you have some meaning to it, but you're probably, when you start studying neuroscience, all of that shit will fall away, and it will quit being important to you, and it'll quit being intuitively meaningful when you actually figure out what the brain is. I mean, computational processes, yeah, it sums things up at the dendrites and then it fires. But I mean, Jesus Christ, calling that a computer is just not right. Just wrong. Just wrong. We don't want to call it a computer. It's a pile of meat. It's a pile of sparky meat.
So how about sci-fi? Like from Star Trek Next Generation, they have Commander Data, where he has a positonic brain. Would you think that ever can be possible?
A what kind of brain?
A positronic, I think they say.
Who does?
I don't know if that's Data.
I don't know what the fuck that would be. Yeah, you can make shit like that up.
Maybe I think.
I think it was Isaac Asimov who invented the literary device of a positronic brain.
So it's like an antimatter particle for electron.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that would be a good idea to have positronic around your brain. Positronic brain. I'll look that up. See if we can find anything on it. Oh, goddamn, there's a wiki article on it. What the fuck? Okay, fictional technological device originally conceived by Isaac Asimov.
Hey, didn't I just say that?
Scott, nobody listens to you.
I'm starting to feel that way.
Okay. I know it's all fiction about that data thing, but I'm just saying, like, the idea can be like what we have, like technologies that can happen in real life. Like we have quantum computers being developed and stuff.
So they say
it's way echoey.
it functions as a central processing unit for robots, and in some unspecified way provides them with a form of consciousness recognizable to humans. That's all intuitive crap. That's our spirit brain thinking. That's our religious thinking infecting even our science fiction. And, but the thing is, a science fiction writer he has a task. He has to like come up with a literary device to explain why his robot's conscious. When he
that's what the transporter was in Star Trek, because they couldn't figure out a way to land the Enterprise on a planet every episode. So they came up with a transporter.
Yep, literary device. And we're not supposed to think too deeply about it. We certainly don't want to fucking apply it to the science when we're trying to understand what the brain actually is. And anyway, guys, are we echoing again?
Yeah, it's still echoing.
Yeah, I fucking had it. I think we'll end the stream.
About that transporter thing, I've been thinking for many years that it would have to be like instant. All your atoms and stuff, or you'd fall apart or somewhere.
Well, you're gonna die anyway. I mean, if they recreate you in another place, you're dead. The original person is gonna disappear.
What about we're already waves and the particles are already. We're moving through space already.
We disappear at every moment. There is no such thing as the eye. It's just all an illusion, and it doesn't matter if we die at all. It do not matter. It only matters to people around us, because when we become a dead body and we don't entertain them, dead bodies are so unentertaining. You find that, Scott? Okay, Scott.
That dead bodies are entertaining?
They're not entertaining. They're totally not entertaining. They're just.
Well, I don't know. There's a channel that does autopsy. It has a bunch of cadavers, and they do autopsy.
Oh yeah,
different parts of the body, and that's very entertaining.
Well, yeah, I don't want to kink shame anybody. So
you definitely wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to kink shame. I mean, if you get off on that sort of thing, but I find dead bodies pretty boring. My kitty, after my kitty died, my kitty was a lot less fun. Snack is still alive, but one kitty died. Eugene died. Anyway, so how much I got to pay to get out of here? I think we should end the stream.
$50.
So anyway, I was hoping to basically explain amino acids, and I'm going to go ask my neighbor, because he asked me to explain it like he's a lawyer, and he wanted me to explain it like he could understand it. They are also the family that provided me with my Jesus blanket, and I love them for that. And it was kind of an attempt to do that, but I would it'd be cool if we had an edited video, but who the fuck's got the talent for that, right?
Me?
Yeah, you do. One should do one. Take my video and turn it into an edited educational device that explains amino acids, starting with the periodic chart, and I don't know. So the format is to show you those formulas and try to get at the subjective experience of being confused when you see a chemical formula and having your mind shut off, and then to open up your mind piece at a time and show you that formula is really simple shit. Organic chemistry is really what you need to know about organic chemistry is as simple as a lot simpler than Legos. It's like a Lego castle that you build with just the square blocks and none of that funky stuff. So it's a real simple Lego construction, and that's how you can learn everything you need to know to understand evolution with just those very simple concepts. And we should stop avoiding that. We should learn that, half-hour simple course and what those things do, so that when we look at a formula, we can say, oh, I know what that is. I know where the carbons are. I know how many bonds there are. They're showing little lines. And I know what that thing is. I recognize it. And that's important. Moving forward and understanding evolution, because the next thing I want to get into is protein spaces. Protein spaces are really cool.
You mean spaced out proteins?
What's that?
You mean spaced out proteins?
Space what protein?
Never mind. I'm echoing too much. I'm going to shut up.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the word because my ears don't work anymore. Like everything is wearing out in the old body, man. I'm just wearing out, I'm wearing down, starting to get boring. Pretty soon I'll be shuffling along with my cart and holding up young people behind me like those other old fuckers at the grocery store. Don't get me started on them. I had like 3 old people get out of my way when I was leaving the grocery store the other day because I must have had a determined look on my face. I had 2 bags in my hand and I was going to the door and they were shuffling. Fucking old.
Yeah, as long as you have that cranky look.
I had a focused look. I had a burning focused look. Like I'm going home and I'm going to cook whatever the fuck I was going to cook. Oh, it was oyster mushrooms, I think. Yeah, that's what I cooked. Anyway, okay, rambling.
Nerdy Road is providing the summary of this episode of the Weather Report.
Where? But I've learned things about carbon. It has 4 things in it. Yes, exactly. That's all you fucking need to know. That's it. Thank you. Summed it up. I could have just said that in the beginning and just let it go. But no, I had to ramble on. Okay. Everybody go out and look up Quicksilver Messenger Service Fresh Air on YouTube and listen to that song just once today. That's your prescription, and it will make you a better atheist. I guarantee it. Okay, we're going to end the show. Scott, I need your approval.
Yes. You have my approval. I was just writing it out inside chat.
Oh, good. Okay.
Silver Messenger Service Fresh Air.
Thank you. Okay. Goodbye, cruel world.
Stay serious.